Okay, good morning. Today is second of April. I'm gonna teach you comparative and superlative adjective. Okay, let's start. What is comparative adjective? So comparative is to show the difference between two objects. For example, if I have a little Toyota and a big Ford, I wanna make a sentence using these two nouns. Okay, for example, I know that the Ford is bigger than Toyota. So I can say the Ford is bigger than the Toyota. The word bigger is a comparative adjective. Okay, just in case if I want to change the sentence, I want to say the Toyota is smaller than the Ford is also another example of using comparative adjective. So in order for us to learn comparative adjective, there is 5 rules that we need to follow. Rule number 1. If your adjective is one syllable, for example, big, small, fat, thin, these are all one syllable adjective. So when you have a one syllable adjective, you need to make sure that the ending of the adjective is added with er. For example, small plus er becomes smaller. So when you are writing in the sentence for comparative adjective, you must always include the word than. For example, if you see the picture, the ant is smaller than the hippo, or the hippo is bigger than the ant. Rule number 2. We still follow with the one syllable adjective. Now, if the one syllable adjective has a consonant, vowel, consonant, okay, that means, for example, the word big. Big, B is a consonant, I is a vowel, G is a consonant. So this is what they mean by one syllable adjective with a consonant, vowel, consonant. So when you see this kind of adjectives, you need to double the last consonant and add er. For example, big. Big stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. So the last letter is G, double the word G and add er and followed by the word then. Okay, sentence example, the elephant is fatter than the giraffe. Next rule, if an adjective ends with a Y, remove the Y and add IER. For example, happy, funny. So you see the word happy ends with Y. So we're going to remove the Y and add IER. So it becomes happier than. For funny, we remove the word Y and add IER. It becomes funnier than. Sentence example, the girl is happier than the duck. Rule number 4. If an adjective has two syllable or more, which is without Y, then add the word more before the word. Okay. Next, if the adjective ends with a Y, you will only add the word more if it has 3 syllables or more. So there is two things that you must remember. If the adjective has more than 2 syllables and it does not have a Y, so you add more in front. If the adjective has more than 2 syllables and has a Y behind, then you just add the word more. It's the same thing. Okay, for example, beautiful, expensive. These two words is an adjective with more than two syllables. For example, beautiful is a three-syllable word. Expensive is a three-syllable word. But these two adjectives does not have Y behind. So we add the word more in front. Next is satisfactory. Satisfactory is three-syllable word, but it has a Y behind. However, the same rule applies. You add the word more in front. Sentence example: the butterfly is more beautiful than the frog. Rule number 5. There are few exceptions. That means these are special cases where you cannot use any of the rules that I mentioned before this, because these are irregular adjectives. So you need to memorize them. For example, good is an adjective, but when we want to say it in a comparative way, we say better. Bad, comparative adjective, is worse. Far, comparative adjective, is farther or further. Okay, for all these adjectives, you need to include the word then after your adjective. Now let's move on to superlative adjective. Oh, before that, there's one more thing that you need to take note. Remember, when using a comparative, you must always follow it with the word then, which I mentioned in front or previously. For example, the Toyota is smaller than the Ford. The Ford is bigger than the Toyota. The ant is smaller than the hippo. The elephant is fatter than the giraffe. The girl is happier than the duck. The butterfly is more beautiful than the frog. Now let's go on to superlatives. Superlative is used when you want to show the difference between more than two objects. Just now we learned comparative, which means you want to know the difference between two objects. So if you want to know the difference between more than two objects, which can be 3 or 4 than above, then you use superlative. For example, I have 3 cars. Okay, I have a little Toyota, a medium-sized Jeep, and a big Ford. A superlative is used to show the difference that exists in the group. The Ford is big, so we can say the Ford is the biggest. Because the Toyota is small, we can say the Toyota is the smallest. So in order for you to learn the superlative, there are again 5 rules that you need to know. Rule number 1. If the adjective has one syllable, we need to add est to the end of the adjective. For example, small plus est becomes smallest. Hard plus est becomes hardest. Sentence example: the ant is the smallest. Now, for superlative, you don't have to include the word then. The word then is only included for comparative adjective. Rule number 2. If one syllable adjective again ends with a consonant vowel consonant, you must double the last letter, which is a consonant, and add est. For example, big plus est becomes biggest. Fat plus est is fattest. Sentence example: the hippo is the fattest. Next one, rule number 3. If the adjective ends with a y, remove the Y and add IEST. For example, happy, remove the Y and remove the Y and add IEST. Happy becomes happiest. Funny becomes funniest. The elephant is the heaviest. Next, rule number 4. If an adjective has two syllables or more, again, with a Y and without a Y, you must add the word most in front. For example, beautiful. For superlative, we say most beautiful. Expensive, we say most expensive. And satisfactory will be most satisfactory. The airplane is the most expensive. Rule number 5. Again, there is few exceptions. These are irregular adjectives that you need to remember. Now, let's go back to the word good. So, you cannot say gooder or goodest. That is a big mistake and it never existed. So, for the adjective good, the comparative is better, superlative is the best. For bad, comparative is worse, WORSE, superlative is worst, WORST. And far, comparative is farther or further, and superlative is farthest and furthest. There are also few other examples. For example, much, comparative is more, superlative is most. Many, comparative is more, superlative is most. Little, comparative is less, superlative is least, LEAST. There is another rule that you need to remember. For superlative, you must always write the word the in front of your superlative adjective. For example, the Toyota is the smallest, the Ford is the biggest, Brad Pitt is the most handsome, the airplane is the most expensive, Jim Carrey is the funniest. So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you.